Can do it.
Yep. We've really got at least one person in chat, not including myself. Like I
That
say,
might be me.
Yeah,
no, this is someone else.
No.
it might be me.
Yeah, because once the game's fully starts, I'm going to minimise my chat
Oh,
window.
the screen's changing.
Yep, it should have the stream is starting soon.
I still have hosting somebody else.
Yep, it takes a few seconds to update.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a pretty nice waiting screen you got there.
Yes, that was professionally done for me by a very lovely person who the alerts thingies, the background image and all that as well cost me something like $90.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I was
You got good value out of that, I think.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I know exactly who I'm going to when I need to get further updates. It's like you've got a customer for life.
Well, there you go. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably go back to the guy who did my logo as well at some point.
Well, that's it. You find someone good, and then that's it. At least 2 people in chat, not including us. That's.
Oh yeah, there's somebody.
Yep, good.
That's a good start.
There we go. That's better.
Good evening, and welcome to the first streamed episode of Star Trek Adventures Damocles. You should be seeing on the screen now my lovely little, I suppose you could call it LCAR style overlay. Took me a while to get it exactly how I wanted. Originally I was going to go with just the 3 players bigger, but then I thought I want to keep it sort of standard from game to game, so the 4th person is currently being represented by the Federation logo down in the corner there. Right. So, first things first, a little bit of introduction. My name's Chris, I'll be the GM for tonight, and this is the 2nd episode of our campaign, Star Trek Adventures Damocles. The first episode, fortunately couldn't record it or stream it for technical reasons, but those are, fingers crossed, sorted now, and good, everything seems to be working. That's fantastic. I'm going to start off with a brief summary of what's been going on in the first episode. It wasn't anything majorly fantastic, but you need to be sort of caught up with things, and from that point on I'm going to get my characters to give a brief introduction to themselves, and once that's done I will be closing the chat so I can't get distracted by it, because I will be distracted by it. But during the quick break and at the end, I will be answering, reading out any messages or answering any questions and stuff like that. So, obviously feel free to talk amongst yourselves or ask anybody else any questions and things like that. But in the meantime, I will be sort of blocking that out just because I don't want to get distracted. I'm nervous enough as I'm shaking at the moment. I'm really freaking nervous right now. But okay, first things first. Introductions to the campaign. I should get to my notes. Okay. 10 years ago, the Dominion War happened. Since then, the Gamma Quadrant has been effectively cut off from the Alpha and Beta quadrants. The majority of the time period has been relatively peaceful. Minor skirmishes here and there. Bajor has progressed in its progression to join the Federation. Isn't quite there yet, but it's almost. Several new starship projects were created. One of them being the Damocles project. The Damocles is the next version along from the Prometheus class. A ship with multi-vector assault mode, advanced shielding, laboratories, engines. This is literally the most advanced starship the Federation has ever created so far. Whilst it's not the biggest and not necessarily the most powerful, it can do things that other ships can't. It has, as I said, the multi-vector assault mode. It has hollow projectors on all decks. It has the extended version of the hologrammatic command crew started off by Voyager, and has more. But some of those systems aren't exactly stable. Returning to the plot. Approximately 6 months before the pilot episode, the Dominion sought out the Federation for help. They were being attacked by a race they believed to be called Vendrazi, but there are rumours that that is not its their real name. Oh, excellent! Got a new follower there. This is why I don't want to watch it, because I'm already getting distracted. These new, well, new is probably the wrong term. This particular group, up until, as I say, probably 9 months ago, were nothing more than a thorn in the Dominion side, a nuisance, what's the word to describe it? Nothing to worry about. But then, one day, out of the blue, one of the most powerful Dominion ships gets destroyed, obliterated. Then another. Then another. Now normally this wouldn't bother the Dominion. Concern them, but it wouldn't, not enough to seek help, until the Founders' homeworld was attacked, and practically half of the Founders were killed. This sent the remaining Founders and the Vorta into a panic. They realised they were up against a new foe that could destroy them at a moment's notice. So, following the example of Odo, they reached out to an old enemy, the Federation. Being the Federation, they accepted this offer. The plea. The first ship to go back into the Gamma Quadrant to see what this new threat is about, to help gather some lost data, is the Damocles. The crew themselves are a small bunch, stationed at Deep Space Nine. They are all relatively new to the ship, although each of them in their own way has gained experience, knowledge, and has much to bring to the ship. Along with the Dominion envoy, a Vorta, 2 Vortas to be exact, and a small cadre of Jem'Hadar are to be stationed on the Damocles to act as felicitators, to oversee the wishes of the Dominion whilst the Federation is in their quadrant. In return for which, the Dominion has promised that if they help them, the Federation helps them, they will reopen the Gamma Quadrant and allow passage, exploration, and everything else that they desire. But they need help. Last episode ended with the Damocles entering the wormhole. Before we pick up the story, I would like each of the characters to introduce themselves, starting with our resident Andorian.
Hi, I'm Andreas, and I'm playing Lieutenant Junior Grade Tira Shadisra. As Chris already said, an Andorian security officer who, yeah, who's very Andorian sometimes.
Before I forget, I'd like to quickly point out to people watching this at home that due to a slight issue with OBS, although you can probably see me, my players can't at the moment. It was an either or situation, and I felt it would be better for the stream to have the stream seeing my ugly face. I've suggested them to see it long enough. So
Blessing in disguise, really.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't want you chundering on screen. Okay, Hanno?
Right, I'm Hanno. I will playing Lieutenant Junior Grade Cholek, a Vulcan science officer with a particular interest in anything that is alive.
Okay, and Ross.
Well, I'm Ross. I'm playing Lieutenant Junior Grade Davrin Jan. I am a joined Trill. Before I became Jan, I was Davrin Milan. I am in the command track, but I am currently assigned to the Science Division.
Okay. So, that's all the intros down out the way. I mean, this will be the point where if I had it, I would be playing the intro sequence. So, just sort of imagine, the ship's flying past, the music's playing, the credits coming up, and blah 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 blah. And that's done.
Space is the final frontier.
No, I prefer the ones like space. What's it all about, really? If you understand that reference, good for you. Right. So, let's begin. Damocles approaches the wormhole. For the first time in many, many years, ignoring the Dominion ship that came through only about a day ago, it opens. Massive, beautiful, swirling, blue, white, speckly tear in space. And Damocles enters. Seconds later, the wormhole closes behind her. The trip through the wormhole itself is uneventful. It's smooth. The ship and the science officers on board take the opportunity to scan, to look out the window, metaphorically speaking, at the ship. But before long, you find yourself back in real space and in the Gamma Quadrant. The wormhole again closes behind. Captain Prur stands up. Well, crew, we are the first Starfleet officers to return to the Gamma Quadrant in almost 10 years. Let's make sure we don't mess this one up, shall we? Helm, have we received the coordinates from our Dominion envoy? The Bajoran Helm's officer nods. Court laid in, sir, to Alphaga 4. Engage. Warp 7. There's a subtle hum that goes through the ship. Those of you who've been on the starship before recognise it. It's the ship preparing to go to warp. But there's a little bit of a jolt. Nothing unpleasant, but enough to sort of make you think, Okay. Tears off to warp. Now you've got approximately 2 hours before we get to the system. So, what are you guys doing?
Have I, am I still in charge of escorting our Vorta envoy?
You've been pretty much been volunteered.
Okay, so that's what Davrin will be doing then.
Yes.
He will be entertaining, I suppose.
Yes, Katal specifically asked for you by name.
Oh, good. I've impressed our Vorta friend.
Yes, and
that's probably a terrible thing.
it might be. I mean, she. Before I progress any further, I just want to introduce the main NPC crew of the Damocles. Captain Rhaegar Prur, a unjoined Trill, whose sister was a joined Trill, and she was killed during the Dominion War. His first officer is Commander Tazan, a Vulcan, female, who is missing her right arm due to an incident with an Orion pirate. She has a prosthesis, but it's not hampered her in any way. In fact, if anything, it's actually made her a more competent first officer, because it's made her stronger, if anything else. But because she didn't see, in her own words, the logic of having it replaced with something more obvious, when you see her arm, it's obviously a prosthesis. It's clunky, it's not exactly pleasant, but she cares not for aesthetics. She's a Vulcan. Of the Dominion side of things, there is Katal, a Vorta, who is, for Vorta, a bit on the odd side. Anyone who's encountered a Vorta will know they can be smarmy, they can be arrogant, they can be manipulative. She doesn't display any of those characteristics. In fact, if anything, she's more motherly. And then there is the two Jem'Hadar that always accompany her, known simply as First and Second. Whilst they do have names, these have not been revealed as yet, because I need to decide what they're going to be. They, for Jem'Hadar, are very tall, very muscular, and have almost childlike qualities to them. People who have been around them long enough will say that you think they were newly arrived at adulthood, but they are still not to be messed with. Right, that's the crew introductions out the way. So, yes, John is currently escorting Katal. He is her, I don't want to say secretary, but almost like a go-between between the Federation side of the ship and what is normally being referred to as the Dominion Embassy, which is basically her quarters and a couple of other ones joined together specifically for her and the Jem'Hadar. That is officially and legally Dominion territory, as would be befitting a embassy. Now the rest of the crew, there isn't that many crew. There's only probably a maximum of 50 people, not including the Dominion, on the ship. The Damocles is highly automated due to its multi-vector assault mode. But this is not expected to be a difficult mission. But Starfleet decided that having its newest advanced ship would go some way to showing the Dominion what they are capable of, in case anything happened. Not that they're expecting it to. So, we know what Davrin's doing. What are the rest of you doing?
Have we been assigned our posts yet?
They are the posts as you would expect them to be. Security is, as you would expect, on a ship like the Damocles, your duties are mostly going to be training, exercises, running drills, that kind of thing.
I'm probably running some drills right now with some science guys.
Yep. It's not so much free time, but you're kind of expected to do something related to your job at this point. Run scans, process data on the wormhole as you pass through it, anything along those sort of lines.
Make yourself some busy work.
Yeah, basically it's, if you're not doing work, work will be assigned to you.
Then I'm definitely playing the role of a drill sergeant right now.
Yes, that's perfectly fine. I can imagine you just running around sort of in the holodeck or wherever with the lower deck ensigns, getting them into shape.
Yeah.
Okay, and Tolek will be in one of the laboratories because he has gotten a vial of Catrosol White,
That is
and
correct.
he wants to find out everything he can about it.
Alright, okay. Preliminary things are, this is probably one of the most complicated chemicals you have ever seen. For a species that requires it, you can see straight away, and you don't need to roll. Actually, no, tell you what, let's roll for this, get you some momentum going.
Right, inaugural roll.
Yeah. For everyone watching, momentum is a form of currency within the game that basically allows the players to manipulate and enhance events and things like that. You'll see on the view screen, on the main area, there are 6 tokens. The red ones are my version of momentum for threat, and there's no upper limit to these. These are for if you wish to enhance a dice roll, or to suddenly say, oh look, I brought along this bit of equipment by a bit of luck, or anything like that. It's basically to help move the story along. Threat is my version of that, and sometimes when they make certain dice rolls, if they hit what's called the complication range, I can take threat, which means, oh look, suddenly during the battle, boom, I will spend 2 things and another ship turns up, or the weapon explodes that you're currently using, and things like that. It's basically a way for me to move the game forward and make it more interesting and exciting. But this is what Hannah's going to be doing right now. It's going to be making a roll. Now it uses the 2d20 system. So if you're using
Lost your audio there, Chris.
Yeah.
yeah, so my headphones cut out as I pulled over. I pulled the wire out. Yeah, my fault. Yeah, if you're used to Dungeons and Dragons, this is going to seem very weird. A 20 is bad. A 1 is good. In fact, a 1 is a critical. That means you get 2 of the result. There's other things as well, but basically the gist of it is you have a target number, and you have to roll a number of dice to achieve that target number. For each one that you do, you get a success, and if you get over these certain successes, you get the positive result. If you don't, you either get a negative result or you just don't fail, just don't succeed. So first things first, it's going to be a what would you call it?
Reason science?
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that. Reason science.
Okay. Let's see. Is this a biological compound or is it chemical?
It's a bit of both.
Well, I'll just ask. Fishing for focus.
I'm going to say yes on this one.
Okay.
Because
So-
it is kind of both.
Okay, so focus is applicable.
Okay.
Nice.
And in the window that's underneath me, you should see the results of the dice rolls. So is that? Have you rolled that yet?
Hmm?
Has it come up yet?
Yeah, the last one.
Okay, good. No, 'cause it didn't. I didn't see it come up this way. This must have been previous. Okay.
Okay.
So as you can see, Hannah's rolled 2 successes, which means, as it was a DC of 1, which is the default, unless I say otherwise, you get 1 extra momentum.
Yay.
Yes, which means they have like 2 extra chances to do things later. And what you find out is, as I said before, Catrosol White, very complicated synthetic organic compound. It is both at the same time complex but also strangely simple, yet you can't figure it out. This is something that's going to take you a long time to figure out. But I wager that your Vulcan mind is fascinated by the process of being able to study this, especially with the advanced laboratories that Damocles possesses.
Yes.
So, time passes. and eventually you arrive at the outer edge of Alpaga 4. Dropping out of warp, you are greeted by a red giant star. This star is larger, much larger than Sol, but still has planets, asteroids. In fact, the system has 6 planets and 2 asteroid belts on the outer edge of the system. But that's not what interests you. Immediately upon entering the system, you pick up several distress signals. Some of them are very, very old. Before anything else can happen, the bridge door opens and Katal walks onto the bridge with her Jem'Hadar escort. I take it we have arrived at the destination, Captain? She asks. Captain Prur just nods. You see her pause. I believe one of those signals is a Dominion distress signal. Okay. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Only about sort of 10 minutes. Tolek, Tira, Davrin, Katal, first and second have been assembled in Shuttle Bay 1. A few people were wondering why these 3 people were chosen. However, it appears that Katal personally requested you 3. Her words were, I find the Vulcan pleasant to be around. The Andorian looks like she can handle herself, and that Davrin fellow is absolutely lovely.
Oh, damn right.
Yeah. But she doesn't mean in a, oh, hello. It's more of a,
Yeah.
you know, in the same way like a friend's mother would say, oh, your friend's lovely, isn't he? Is that
What a
kind
sweet young man.
Yes. What a nice young man. So she does give off that motherly vibe. You know, you could say when she compliments people, you feel like your own mother has turned around and said you've done a good job.
I don't think we actually discussed. Does she look middle-aged?
No,
Or-
she doesn't. She just has that. I mean, if she looks in human terms, I'd say she probably looks around her 30s.
So would Davrin know anything about the Vorta aging process?
He probably
Not.
Probably would. It's a. I mean, they've never really sort of hidden much about it. It's not like a Dominion secret. It's the sort of thing that would have been in the Federation database. You know, they might say, "Oh, Vortas live X amount of years." And,
So do they live a long time?
I'm going to have to get back to you on that one. Because
I was just wondering if she could reasonably be matronly despite physically not appearing to be matronly.
I'm going to say that no matter how old she looks, that's how she's coming across.
Yeah.
But I will have to double check on how old Vortas can be. You know, also remember that Vortas also cloned, and they're
Oh
members.
yes, of course.
So it's
Could be a lot older.
whilst her body might be young, her mind is a lot older. I mean, it's probably the sort of thing that will come up in conversation. So this is her 4th clone.
Ah,
So
we have something in common, kind of.
yeah, that's probably why she's picked up on it. A fellow person who has had multiple lifetimes, in effect. Whereas Jan has had the symbiote and had another lifetime. These have all been hers. And I think that's why, it's a good way to say that's why she's coming across as being a motherly, because she probably has been a mother. Even though they are mostly clones. It's, you know, she might have been assigned to look after younger Jem'Hadar or younger Vorta and things like that. So, anyway, the trip is mostly uneventful. Although, Tira, can you make a
Yeah.
make a perception roll, please?
Okay.
Which I think
perception
is I keep getting the terminology mixed up with D&D, so I do apologise.
Difficult.
No problem. I
And
think
let's
that's
go with-
control security, right?
Yep, that sounds fine to me. Actually no, let's go with insight and security, actually.
Okay, then I have to cancel this. 1 second, please.
No problem.
What's the difficulty?
1. Unless I say otherwise, assume it's always 1.
Okay.
Oh, brilliant. As you're sitting in the shuttle, and you get enough momentum. Yes, fantastic. You feel first, looking at you, the back of your head. You can almost hear him muttering. It's like, I want to fight her. I want to see what she's like in combat. You can tell he's like, shh, not now first, these are our friends.
And I just smile and I'm not piloting, am I?
No, there's another person piloting. You guys are just
Okay.
sitting in the back.
Then I just smile and say nothing.
You are greeted by Jem'Hadar smiling back rather. It's like, imagine a creature who's never smiled before trying to smile.
Isn't it nice that we're all friends?
It's yes.
Yeah, because you might already pick that up. I'm so trusting this whole setup. I don't have any doubts at all.
Before anything else happens, you hear beep beep, beep beep. The pilots of the shuttle is like a young human officer turns around and says, "You might want to get comfortable. This is going to be interesting."
Need help?
Yeah, there's a bit of Actually, sir, Lieutenant Telek, can I just? It all indicates for you to come up to the front.
Of course.
Yes.
I will walk up.
What does this look like to you? And he points to a reading on the scanner.
I will take a look at the reading.
Okay, and I would like you to make a insight and science check, please.
Inside and side. Oh, wait, yeah, alright. Probably nothing biological. So no focus.
I'm going to say you can actually have a focus on this one.
Okay, I'll check it.
It is kind of biological. We'll find out in a second.
Ooh.
Ooh, very nice. Okay, let's just save you a bit of hassle later. Right, so not only you get that, but you immediately recognise that the readings on the scanner have a psionic edge to them. There is a lot of psionic energy, or telepathic energy, depending on how you wish to call it, on this planet. A lot of it. But the other thing you're noticing as well, there's no life forms. At least
Fascinating.
at least none that you can detect.
There seems to be a large quantity of psionic energy to reside on this planet. Interestingly, I cannot make out any individual life forms.
Well, you're right. That is fascinating.
Catal sort of looks a bit. This is the first time you've seen her slightly concerned. Have you tried scanning for Vorta life forms by any chance?
I shall do so immediately and punch in the appropriate
Yeah, because you had such good
parameters.
you had good success on you had a critical success on that previous one. I'm going to give you this one for free. Very very faintly towards the upper northern area of the planet, you detect one Vorta life form, and it is very very faint. But there's still nothing to indicate what is creating or generating this psionic energy that your scanners have picked up. Now, whilst it won't be a problem for most of you, though, Davrin and Tulek may have an issue because of the amount of it. This is something that is pretty much drilled into any species that has mental communication with others, especially with Trill, as you know, the psionic energy does sometimes interfere with the bond between a symbiont and its host. Not enough to damage it, but enough to, shall we say, disrupt communication. It's probably the easiest way of describing it.
While this is going on, I quietly ask first, any tips on fighting creatures with psionic abilities?
So, hit them in the head.
Well, if there are no life signs, then we may not have anything to hit. Nothing physical, at any rate.
They might be hiding from our scanners.
There is at least the Vorta life sign in the northern hemisphere. Gital, have you any information about this planet you would find prudent to share at this moment?
He sort of looks guilty. It's like, there is a reason, I believe, why the person on this planet fled here. This particular, and why we needed the Federation's help. Dominion technology doesn't work properly here. We're not entirely sure why, but there's something about this system, this planet in particular, that it caused disruption to our ships. It weakened our shields. It, frankly, if we could have got, we were during the Dominion War, if the Federation had found out about this place, it would have turned the tide practically overnight. You could have shut us off like that.
Sounds like a minefield to me.
We don't know what it is. We can't even scan this planet, and we believe that is why the person we're going to rescue, I believe his name was Batan. We believe that is why he hid here, so no one could find him.
Would be a logical destination if one wanted to remain undetected.
Yes, I mean, we were lucky that he managed to get a distress signal off before he... She just pauses, gathers her thoughts. Before we officially lost contact with him. And that was a while ago. I'm actually impressed he's still alive, assuming that is him. But we need that data that he got.
So what are you saying is that we should rescue someone who's hiding on the one place you can't reach him, but he's still an ally of yours?
Yes. Because if what he has got is what we believe it to be, it could change everything. Not only for the Gamma Quadrant, but for the Alpha, well, for the whole galaxy.
Can I insight check here?
Yes, you can.
That's insight and security?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah, let's go with insight security. And it's a DC of 1, obviously.
Okay. Please, 1 it is.
She's telling, as far as you can tell, she's telling the truth. Vital has been nothing but open since you met her. Does she have an agenda? Of course she does. Everybody does. But at this moment, as far as you can tell, she's telling you the truth.
I do have a potential theory about this planet. Lieutenant John, do you recall any information about planet-sized life forms?
I guess I should roll for that then. Right.
It's more of a general question, so to choose, he's Tolek is bouncing ideas.
Yeah. Okay. So, life forms in general, not particularly my thing. So this is going to be reason science, is it?
Yeah, reason. I don't know why I'm nodding. You can't see me at the moment. Yes.
Not away.
Yes, sir.
So I've got no focus
I can make
for
like
this.
a rude gesture to them, and they can't see me. I wouldn't do that. Much. Not twice anyway. I mean. Okay. It's coming back to me now.
So that should have gone through. One success. Do I recall anything about planet-sized life forms?
Yes. There aren't any.
There
There aren't any
then,
that you are aware of.
that I'm aware of, Tolek. Granted that it is an infinitely vast universe, there are none.
Infinite possibilities, indeed.
So, given that there probably are some out there, but none that I could recollect for you, I'm afraid.
That is
I will say
fine.
as well that from the scans, it doesn't. The planet itself seems normal.
Okay.
I mean, this is you can just do it with a surface scan. Now, there's nothing on there to indicate that this is anything other than a planet that just happens to have a very potent psionic field in it.
Okay, so what does this person have that we need?
From what we could gather, they managed to get a complete copy of the Bendrazi data core.
Yes, well, I can see how that would be significant.
I don't think you do. The Bendrazi data core is literally the complete sum of all of the Bendrazi knowledge and information. Getting this will tell us almost everything about them. Even if they change their security protocols from when it was stolen, the information contained on there will allow us to find their homeworlds, to their patterns, their leaders, their population centres, how their tactics. It will tell us everything about them.
Did you tell that the captain too?
The captain knows of this. Starfleet knows of this. And
Then they will be on the lookout for any Bendrazi ships.
they will be, yes. But we must warn you. We need this information intact. Without it, in effect, the Dominion will die. But if we get it, we'll have a fighting chance.
Do you know what format the data will be in? How we would recognise it?
Oh, you'll recognise it.
Did she tell us this person's name yet?
Bitan.
Bitan. Let me just make a note.
Yeah. To be exact, Bitan 3.
Right. Well, is there? This is an out of character question.
Okay.
Science. I guess I could roll for this if you think I need to. Would there potentially be a way to use the tools and systems available to find a way to shield our more psychic members temporarily from the psychic energy of the planet?
Given time, yes.
But we don't have the time.
No.
Okay.
From the nature of the psionic energy, you believe as long as you don't stay on there for too long, you'll be okay. But
What is too long?
that's
Yeah,
the
good
thing.
question.
That's the thing. You don't know. It's pretty much you want to get in there, get the job done, and get out.
Can't our Vulcan throw a hypothesis for so long as? I mean, he's Vulcan.
Sorry, can you say that again, sorry?
He wants me to guess.
Ah, okay. Yeah, you can guess. But
I'm not sure
Well,
you're
I-
asking the right person for a guess.
I can create a hypothesis based on available data.
now, in Star Trek Adventures, there is a way you can do the proper hypothesis. But I'm not going to do that today because it's a fairly involved thing and I'm just barely remembering half the rules as it is at the moment. So I don't want to introduce a really complicated. So what I will do is I will have you roll. I'm going to fudge the rolls for this one. I'll have you roll a science and insight check just to get a basic idea. Then if you want to do something a little bit more complicated later, then we can go into the proper hypothesis roll. Because it's, whilst it's not complicated, it's something I've got to set up to make sure what all the different roles do. I mean, it's actually good fun, but it's okay. You think as long as you don't spend more than 4 hours on the planet, you should be okay. You know it's going to be uncomfortable, but it's just like the equivalent of a very, very light headache. It will be to begin with, because your brain's been. But being a Vulcan, you can mentally shrug that off. Longer than 4 hours though, it might start getting a bit uncomfortable. A bit.
Right. I will relay this information to the others.
Who's moving Catal? Okay. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Right. Well, that 4 hours should be adequate unless we find that we cannot land very near.
Oh no, you can land. There's a nice wide open space. It was just because of this sonic energy field that the ensign was going.
I mean, but can we land very close to where Bhutan is?
Oh yes, reasonably close actually. There's not right on top of it, but probably sort of half a kilometre away from it, maybe a kilometre at the most. There's quite a few open spots. Something you do notice as the shuttle's coming into land, what you first thought were mountains are giant crystals of various colours. Some red, some blue, some green, some in between. In fact, you notice there's no visible organic life on this planet. Everything is crystals. Some are big, like the size of Damocles, stacked together, sort of piled on top of each other. And as you land, you notice some of them are small. Very
I've got a bad feeling about this.
But the landing itself, uneventful. Immediately, Telek, you can feel the psionic energy pressing on your mind, even through the ship, even through the shuttle's walls and the shields. It's not painful, but it caught you off guard a little bit. It was. I say it's not painful, but it's like the equivalent of. I don't know, like you've been, say, in a place with just playing loud music. Not comfortable, but you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Shuttle lands. Slight bump. Good sort of minutes. Okay. Who's out first?
Me first and second. Weapons drawn.
You notice that first and second, do not have their rifles drawn. They have their blades.
Right, because their tech doesn't work.
Yeah. They sort of. Tira, you notice first, looking at your rifle with a. If a Jem'Hadar had an expression, it's like, I want mine. I want to use my rifle. You would say he's pouting.
I need a picture now of a pouting Jem'Hadar.
You'd think they'd enjoy going mano a mano with whatever crystalline life forms we're about to fight.
Yeah.
You'd think that, but it's like when you give a child, it's like, right, you can't have this. But I want that. Their pouting is like, well, you weren't using it. I don't care. I want to use that now. And
well, I still don't trust him enough to lend him my phaser, unfortunately. So.
Also,
I think we can catch and throw good enough to share this phaser rifle between the three of us.
And it's like Katal. No, it's not Katal first. So it's Katal says first. Remember what I said. Play nicely. And it grumbles.
What's she going to do? They've already taken away his toys.
No, but it's more the if you're going to play nicely. So,
as a player, I'm currently contemplating the effect of energy weapons and crystals.
Me too. I want a sonic-based weapon now as a player.
Yeah.
also,
Or a large hammer.
Before I open the door, the ensign at the controls goes, "Sir, ma'am, the ambassador," indicates you towards the scanner again.
Yes. I'll take a look again.
Davrin will take a look as well.
Yeah, it's pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
You see the crashed Dominion ship. Approximately 600 meters away. Easily traversable. Nearby it, you see a ship that none of you have ever seen before. You hear Katal take a deep breath. Bendrazi. This ship, it's a mess. And not just from what's happened on it. This is a ship that has been put together by, if you want to say, amateurs. There is no other way of describing it. It would be like a civilization's first ship.
Davrin is actually a bit of a fan of ships in general. Trey inherited from his father, who was a mechanic, so he's practically he's like flabbergasted and offended by this.
Yeah.
There is literally no elegance. This is disgusting.
Yeah, this is the sort of ship, right? If you gave a bunch of Lego to a small child and say build a spaceship, that's what it looked like. It's got. If you had to say anything, you would say this is not a ship designed by one race.
That's interesting. Okay, so is Batan's life sign coming from the direction of the Bendrazi ship, or the opposite direction?
No,
or...
it is coming from the direction of the Dominion ship.
Okay.
It's very obviously coming from the direction of the Dominion ship.
Catan, I don't know whether you agree, but I would imagine that the parameters of the mission have changed somewhat based on this.
I think you are correct, young man.
By the way, is this a new scene?
It is, yes.
Okay.
My fault. I completely forgot.
No, our momentum.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
A new scene. The way that Star Trek Adventures works is it uses a lot of abstract things for time frames, for distances and stuff like that. So abilities might say, oh, till the end of the scene, and the scene is as if you're watching the show. It's pretty obvious when a scene transitions, when it's like a new location or a new event is going on, and it's pretty obvious what it is. That's basically what's happened here. Is the discovery of the new landing on the planet, finding out about the ships, that's a new scene. And because it is new, the players lose 1 momentum. But I don't lose threat. Right. Yes. This has changed the parameters of the mission. This is a unique opportunity. We have never been able to capture or even examine an intact Bendrazi vessel. We have either had to flee them or destroyed them. No, they're pretty much one or the other. You either break them down into their component atoms or they flee. This is a unique opportunity, and I think we should take it.
I understand that this is a unique opportunity, but our mission goals are clear, and I will not put anyone in more danger than it is necessary.
For the first time, you see Catal have a flash of anger on her face. Her voice goes taut. May I remind you that in matters of the Dominion, my voice is the one you listen to.
With respect, we will, of course, listen to your massive dominion, but of course we are Starfleet. However, I don't see that investigating this ship would be necessarily a danger to anyone, bearing in mind we have not detected any life signs at Shannara. Perhaps it is worth doing, considering the import of this scenario.
It would also be a possibility that the Bendrazi have found a way to harness the unique qualities of this planet to their own advantage, so caution would be advisable.
You see her take a breath. You are correct. I knew there was a reason why we picked you. She turns to that Javrin. Forgive me. I must apologise. Bataan.
No apologies are necessary. Well, not to me, at any rate.
Oh no, but they are. I have a small confession to make with the charm. There's no other way to put this. In my third clone, he was my lover.
Understood. Then you must be very keen to see him safely returned.
I am. I thought he was dead. Well, Catal 3 thought he was dead.
Do you have any reason to think he will be hostile?
Hostile? He's been on his own for a while. One thing I am surprised at, though, there was a founder with him. Oh no. She suddenly sits down as if the realization hits her. Only one life form was detected, and it was water. Although she was naturally pale, you see Catal go slightly paler.
I am sorry.
The founder could have changed in something inorganic. Please remember that.
Of course, yes, they are gods after all. Hiding from your Federation scanners would be an easy trick for them. Yes, must maintain hope. No, I'm getting distracted. The data cluster. We must get the data cluster. If there is time afterwards, I would ask that we at least give the Bendrazi ship a cursor.
I would like to take a look at it myself, so if everyone else is okay with that, then yes, I think that's the most sensible course of action.
If you go there, I will come with you. I want to protect you all.
So are we all going together, or?
That would be advisable, in my opinion.
Yes, yes.
What? We should probably leave a security detail with the ship, with the shuttle.
Second step.
Obviously,
Second steps forward. I will protect your Federation shuttle.
And Ensign, keep the engines running, just in case.
You look at the ensign and he has a slightly nervous look to his face. He's going to be left alone for Jem Hadar.
Has anyone else noticed how we're all really being super careful not to name the ensign?
Yeah, you name them, they die.
But then again, they die if you don't. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't
Yeah.
situation.
What I'll probably do is I'll probably let that chat name him or something at some point. So
Yeah. Well, let's see if he lives long enough for me to know.
We have to give him a full name and a great background story and a fully fledged character.
don't
Maybe
jinx it.
ensigns earn names if they survive
May-
one encounter.
Yes.
That may still kill him.
Yeah, don't give them names. You grow attached to them if you give them names.
Yeah.
So, Ensign 5. Right, okay. Now technically, this will be the start of a new scene. 'Cause-
Oh no.
Yep. This is why I was giving
We
you
need to start spending this momentum, guys.
I know. Don't worry. I'm going to give you a chance to do it. To get it back. Now, which ship are you going to first? Or which ship are you going to?
Well, it sounds like the consensus was the Dominion ship.
Yes.
Well, so it's easy enough to get there. What we'd like you each to do is to make a insight and science roll.
Sure
And-
thing.
Oh,
Tolek-
great.
Tolek, yes, your focus does apply.
Okay,
Do any of mine? Just,
Which focus
I
is it?
can't imagine they would, but
Which
I have,
focus
well,
do-
in science, I have astrophysics, quantum mechanics, and warp theory.
No.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not using the ship's systems.
Nope, because you're not on the ship.
Yeah, because then I would have my technical expertise as well.
No, that wouldn't apply.
Ah.
Oh dear.
Oh no!
Oh dear, Davin got a oh dear.
Yes, it is.
I get another threat. Okay. As you're going along, specifically for you, Tolek, you notice.
But we get another momentum,
Yes, you do. This is why I wanted to give you a chance to do this. You, as standard procedure on an alien planet that you've not been to before, you're getting out your tricorders, scanning away, and something that flares up for you, Tolek, straight away is that the smaller the crystals, the stronger the energy that is being outputted, and the more chaotic it is. The larger crystals,
There's
it's you can get close to the crystals. It's not hurting. The pressure's not increased. It's there,
Yeah.
but it's not getting any worse. It's not getting any better. But you notice that as you get closer to the larger crystals, it, for want of a better expression, gets quieter and calmer. As you get closer to the smaller crystals, that pressure gets slightly more stronger, but more chaotic. It's the difference between a radio signal and the static you get between radio signals. That's probably, if you had to come up with a way that a non-telepathic species could understand it, that is how you would explain it.
Interesting. There seems to be an inverse relation between psionic activity and size of the crystal.
Yes.
Could it be that what you're seeing as an inverse relationship actually isn't, and the bigger crystals seem calmer because they are sending out a psionic field so large it's the ambient psionic level of the planet that we're already experiencing?
That is a possibility indeed.
They are just adults who have calmer thoughts.
Or perhaps indeed. Although the notion of crystals with thought is curious indeed. If we had more
But-
time.
But I'm just
As you said,
Technique.
there is an infinite universe.
Yes. Well, perhaps we'll have another opportunity on another day. But since we have 2 tasks already and only 4 hours in which to complete them,
you've got about 3.5 hours now.
We should continue to our primary goal.
do you think, in your assessment, are these smaller crystals dangerous to be near? Should we be avoiding
Uncomfortable.
them?
We species with a higher telepathic affinity should definitely try to avoid coming near them. It is an uncomfortable sensation.
Understood.
Okay. As you approach the Dominion cruiser, now this ship is, if you had to say anything, it's probably about the size of the Defiant in terms of how big it is. It's a bit bigger than a Jem'Hadar attack ship, but smaller than their command cruisers. It's basically a standard everyday. There's nothing special about the ship, apart from one thing. You notice it is speckled with loads of crystals, almost as if they're growing on it.
Interesting.
I wonder how do we
Before you get any
So,
further, you hear, "Stop! Right! Stop! Stop! Oh, identify yourselves!"
Guitar, perhaps you should take point on this.
She steps forward. Baton? What? No, this can't be. You see through what would be a window, but it's now broken. Obviously of water. They're bruised, dirty, and they look like they've not eaten for a long time. It can't be you, Qatar. You died. I'm number 4. So the gods blessed us with another version of you. And he just collapses.
You're up, Tolek.
And at
Yep.
that point,
Yep.
we're going to have a little break.
Right.
Because I need to go to the toilet. And
Yeah,
also-
me too, actually. Good timing.
So I'm going to reopen the chat window so I can see what people have said.
Right.
Yes.
Uh,
Thank you very much.
How
we'll
long?
be right
5
back.
minutes?
Yeah, we're going to have a little sort of a 5-minute break. I'm going to put the break time window on. First of all, I want to thank Squidjo for the donation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Amazing.
Thank you.
good luck. With
Thank
this,
you.
Good luck with this beginning. The USS Salish Sea is a great name for a non-important NPC ship. Just saying. Well, I'll add that to the list. There's that will be a good name for a ship. So yeah, gonna have a little break for a couple of minutes because I need to stretch my legs and go to the toilet, and then we'll be right back with part 2. Don't go away. Right, one break. Smell garlic. Oh, I wasn't too sure if you could pick up the microphone. Okay, not a problem. Yeah, just this random smell of garlic bread. I think it's the neighbours or something. They've got a. I think they've got like garlic coming up. Just smells nice.
Wow, that's a lot of garlic to be reaching you.
Well, it's because of where their kitchen is and like where my kitchen is. It's like so I think it's just like wafted through. So it's just.
Jesus. Yeah, it suddenly got really cold in my flat.
I completely forgot that it activates the thing. Okay, I'm going to flip it back onto the main thing at the moment and wait for the other players to come back rather than just sitting on this screen. So, does anybody have any questions so far?
Nope.
Obviously, bearing in mind there are things I will not be able to answer for spoiler reasons. But you want someone to shoot the crystals.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am tempted, but I fear that we then have bigger problems at hand as we
I
already
feel
have.
like the actual consequence of that would effectively be like a nuke or something.
Yeah.
Like resonating through the crystals across
It's
the entire
it's
planet.
like a giant like planetary laser. Suddenly the planet disappears in a puff of smoke.
Yeah, exactly.
No, no.
I'm not sure we're going to take all the recommendations from the chat
Oh,
at
no,
face
no.
value.
No, that would. I'll give you this one for free. That wouldn't be a good idea.
I think we were all a bit suspicious about that idea to begin with.
Yeah, it's I'll not too much. I'll wait until after the stream because these are after the session because there's a few things that if I reveal to them now will change how you act. So yeah, I won't do any.
Oh yeah. No spoilers, man.
No, I mean,
We want to make the mistakes ourselves.
yeah, it's. Okay, so I'm just reading up on my notes at the moment just to make sure I've got everything. Because it's already changed since the notes have gone, but I was expecting that. These are more sort of guidelines rather than this is how the episode's going to go.
So the question is, have you found the origin planet of the crystalline life form?
No, it's not that type of crystal. It's a different type of crystal.
So it's the origin point of a crystalline life form.
But not with the crystalline life form.
I kind of want garlic bread now too, actually.
Yeah, I've made myself hungry. I was like, damn it, I want garlic bread.
Yeah.
Cheesy garlic bread.
I didn't really want to eat during the stream, which is why I started eating during the break. But I'm just so hungry.
No, that's perfectly fine. It's to be honest, I've eaten and drunk on screen. But speaking of drink,
Well, yeah, I am
Speaking of
drinking,
being drunk.
I have the traditional cream soda.
and I have a traditional, well, ale actually. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, if you've ever watched Shield of Tomorrow, you will understand why I'm drinking a cream soda.
Well, I keep meaning to, I really do. But actually, I am keeping up with season 2 of Critical Role,
Yeah, that's
which is hard enough because every episode's 4 hours long, and I just do not have this kind of time. So I've really got to.
I've been doing it up until I watch the if I don't have the whole day to watch it, I will watch the like the first half one day, so it's like 2 hours, and then the next day I'll watch the after the break part because it makes it a nice easy point to stop and carry on. And that's that. Also, reading the chat, the Folian lasernet things. Use one of those. No consequences. No, we're not using Folian technology. See what happened to the Defiant last time that happened? and not the USS Defiant from Deep Space Nine, the original Defiant. However, no spoilers. I am going to be doing one of the suggestions that someone in chat suggested to me about a week ago.
And we have no idea what that was, so that's great, so it isn't a spoiler.
This is more for this person who's in chat to say, yes, I will be doing it. They know what it is. I know what it is. You guys don't.
Yay!
That's the way how it should be done.
Yeah, there's a
The lag on my camera is so comic.
yeah, I can sort of see it on the preview thing of my stream at the moment, so it's right. I think that's enough waffling. Everybody get comfy. We shall begin part 2. Right. Okay. Right. Get back onto the thing. Get fire up there. That could have been me. So don't. How's the audio now?
Yeah, audio is normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me.
It's more on checking with chat because obviously.
Yeah, because I didn't notice any echo there, so it might be just an audience thing.
I learned that a long time ago. What we hear is not the same as what the stream hears.
Okay.
So, see, so it's took me a while to get my brain around that, but it does make sense. I'm going to assume that it's reasonably okay. Echo on the players. Apparently, echo on the players, and not the GM. Right. Okay. I've got a feeling that might be to do with.
On all the players?
Yeah. It's apparently there's a big echo, because I think what it is
So it's probably not a problem on one of our ends there.
Yeah. Like somebody unplugged their headphones type echo. Okay. That's. Yes, I think what it is like, you know, like one person's speaking and it's picking up on their headphones, it's going through. I think that's what it is.
Right.
Interesting.
Let's just try something.
Well, I'll check all my settings just in case. What was that?
I just unplugged and plugged in my headphones again.
Okay. I'm just adjusting the desktop audio levels as well. Okay. How's it now? Again, this is for chat mostly.
Yeah, that was
that was a
one.
bit-
We all heard that one.
Yeah, that kind of made my ears melt a little bit.
Oh,
Okay, that
well, it
seems-
fixed it.
That seems to have fixed it. Good.
A little bit of torture, a little bit of pain,
Yeah.
and now we're good.
It's the second rule of IT support. First, the
Oh,
first one is to turn it off, and again, the second is to beat it. Okay. I will have to have a look into that. I've got a feeling it's because of how it's picking up the audio. I will try to adjust it as best as I can, but there's not much I can do short of basically rearranging practically everything. I do apologise for that. I'm still learning how to use OBS properly. So, okay, and
yeah. I just unplugged my headphones and plugged them back. Has it fixed it?
move your butt out of the way, cat. I think it's either Hanno or Ross.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, we're being told to continue. So.
Yes, we are being told
I'm
to do
sorry.
that. And the cat just shoved her butt in my face, so I've got cats up my nose. Let's
And we
continue.
can't see it.
No, you didn't see it this time, so you don't have to get drunk. Right, I will now close the chat again, so I don't get distracted. Oops, get in there. Right. There's a new scene. You're inside the Dominion ship. The crystals you saw on the outside are inside as well. Batan is being looked after by Qatar. She's gently rousing him as much as possible. First and second are keeping an eye on the entrance in the window.
Second is at the shuttle.
Sorry, yes, you're correct. Yes, sorry. First is keeping an facing backwards and forwards, like he's basically on patrol inside the ship. It's not that big inside there, but you can see quite easily how someone could survive in here for like a month or so. It's roomy enough for 1 or 2 people, not a problem. But it's not huge. And like I said, the crystals are everywhere.
Are they growing on Bhutan too?
No, they only seem to be attached to the inorganic components. You also notice. Where's my list gone? Okay. I would say, Tolek, you notice straight away something sitting right at the back of the ship. A small silver cylinder, approximately 1 foot tall by about 6 inches wide, with what appears to be if you have to say anything, a screw top.
Does my tricorder give me any information on what's inside?
I don't know. Let's find out. That would be, and again for you, this is going to be an insight and science roll.
Right.
This is more to see if you recognise what the tricorder is picking up.
All right. With or without focus?
Oh, definitely a focus.
Definitely focus. Thank you. Ooh. Not bad.
It's a dead changing.
Ooh.
Inside, and as you get closer to it, the Tsar wakes up and says, "No, must not disturb the Founder's rest." And then you can see he's awake, but he's struggling to keep himself awake.
I am afraid that we are too late in this instance.
I know. They. And he turns to Katal. The Founder died in my arms. There was nothing I could do. He just starts crying. She starts holding him and gently patting his head, rocking him to comfort him. And you can see by this news, first is visibly disturbed by the fact that her god has died.
Where is the data core?
He points next to the. I suppose you could call it the flask. It's probably the politest way of describing this. You see, yeah, this is obviously a computer data core, and the thing, it's big. It's about the size of a human head, and very much like the Bendrazi ship, this looks like something not designed by one race. He died. Bhutan pushes away from Qatar. He died getting a stat. And he sort of stops and looks. He looks at Davrin, looks at Tolek, looks at Tyria, and seems to almost recoil. You are Federation.
We are.
He starts panicking. He's going into a full-blown panic attack.
Please, calm yourself. We are here as friends.
Friends?
Yes, we are here to help against the Bendrazi.
As he's hearing that word, he stops.
And I must tell you that I am extremely sorry for your loss, but it sounds like your god died a true hero's death.
You see first sort of nodding with a, yeah, I can accept that. I don't like it, but I can accept it. So the message got through to the Federation then? Tom nods. They're here to help. Again. She nods and smiles. Yes. They are here to help. Your message got through. You did it. And once again, he collapses. But this time, although you can hear him sobbing, this is the sobbing of someone who is relieved, who has come to terms with loss, who has been through, for them, hell. And they have seen that it is worth it. That their struggle was worth it. That seeing a god die was worth it. I'd also like you all to make a security.
Oh no. Do I really have to? I'm only going to get a critical failure again.
And insight. All of you to make a security and insight roll.
Actually, I'm not as bad at securities.
Yeah.
If it were con, I would fail miserably.
Yeah, that's why you weren't asked to pilot the ship.
That's why I'm here for the con.
Security insight.
Again,
Would is empathy related to what's going on?
it's just
What you
more
want
to
the
see
roll
if
for?
you notice. It's more to see if you notice something.
Okay, cool.
Call this.
What did I say?
You are the Wheaton of this group.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
Now the thing is, you all notice this.
Oh, founder.
Yes. You all hear what can best be described as the sound of glass on glass.
I knew there would be crystal monsters.
Oh yeah. You see first his eyes wide open, and it's like you see him whisper, it's like Andorian. And he does the come hither gesture. I did that. I realise you can't see me. In fact, Starfleet, all of you, come see this.
I'm drawing my phaser and walk quickly to first.
Yeah, drawing a phaser sounds like a smart move, so...
Yeah, well, I'll keep my tricorder out for now, just in case.
But yeah, I'll go take a look. Wouldn't want to be rude.
Right. You see Catal pull Batan back. It's like, no, you must protect the cluster. You must protect it. They can get it out of here. And things of that nature. It's basically to calm him and stop him panicking. Outside the ship, you see, approximately 8 feet tall, a large crystalline figure in humanoid-esque form. Just standing there. It has no features that you can see, but it has obviously arms, it had obviously legs. Where its head is are several pointy points. I don't know what the exact term is will be on a crystal, but it's my brain went dead.
I guess I don't know. Facet's not quite right, is it?
Yeah, I was trying to think what the proper term is for it, like for the pointy bits on a crystal. If anything,
Edges?
Yeah,
facet kind
really
of is
edges.
right, actually.
They're not really edges. These are, again, to use a metaphor, if you would say anything, you would say this creature is wearing a crown.
Right.
Okay.
It's those kind of pointy things. Again, I can't think what the proper term is for it.
The royal points.
Yes,
Ridges, yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Ridges.
It does look like a crown.
Devrin, I think that's our cue to leave this planet.
But this is a first contact situation.
Yeah.
Protocol is quite clear.
Well,
How
I
do you
think
want to communicate with that?
Well, I was going to try talking to it.
also, since
I don't
this
know.
is a Dominion mission Starfleet First Contact Protocol does not apply for the moment.
You
Thank you,
make
Tolek.
a sound argument, as always.
Yes.
Thank you.
What's going on over there? You hear Catal asking.
There is there's a crystalline creature, Catal.
A what?
Well, it's a humanoid rock, for lack of a better descriptive
So
terminology.
you can think, excuse me, Mum, Baton. And she's like, "Are you going to be fine?" So you seem. I will look after the cluster and the founder. She's like, "Good. Thank you." And she sort of. You see her gently put her hand on his face, the same way someone is like, "I'm so proud of you." And she gets up and walks to where you are to look out. The creature I'm calling the Crystal King hasn't moved. But you can see almost features forming on his face. Not detailed, but you can see him. I say him. You can see the creature looking at you, one by one. Then raises its arm and makes the same gesture to you that first did, as if to say, "Come here."
I
And then puts his arm down.
we should acknowledge the contact, because the only other options are either hostile or incredibly rude to the point where it might become hostile. So Davrin is going to take a few steps towards the crystalline creature.
Okay, so I'm assuming you're going out the ship then.
Yes,
Okay.
he'll leave the ship.
Okay.
Are there any immediate consequences for that?
No.
Okay. And so he.
Apart from one minor one.
Okay, I'll probably need to know that.
No, that is minor. The Crystal King turns to look at you.
And okay, so greetings. I am Davrin Jan, and I represent the United Federation of Planets. And we mean you no harm. Do you understand me? Can you communicate back?
You see the creature tilt its head and repeats the gesture. But this
Still wants
time
you to get closer.
to the ones inside the ship.
Ah,
He's not looking at you, he's looking at the ones inside the ship. He's repeating the almost like the exact same gesture, the same way that first did it.
I will step out.
First, you protect Guitar, I will protect Baton, and you will take the data core. If there are problems, we run.
I feel like the fact that he's using exactly the same gestures kind of has some sort of relevance here.
The Crystal King turns back
Perhaps
to
he's reading our minds, perhaps, and taking movements and imagery from them. Could I do a science check?
Yes.
Okay.
Again,
so,
this will probably be a science and insight.
yeah. Oh, come on, fingers crossed. Don't be failing me now.
Remember, you can use momentum to increase your.
Oh,
the dice rolls and stuff like that.
should I, guys?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Let's
Okay.
use momentum
So
for
I'll
first.
cancel
Basically,
that.
that gives you an extra dice to roll.
Yeah, okay, so let's use one then. So insight, science, 3d20. What have I got?
Nice.
Whoa!
That's
Oh,
very good.
yes!
3 successes.
Give me my momentum back.
Yeah.
That was difficulty
Yep,
1.
Now you get 2 momentum back. Because it was a default of 1. Remember, unless I say otherwise, it's always 1.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Even if it's like a 0 or a 5, it's basically that's the default position. It's a 1 DC, and you got
Nice.
3. You notice any movement that you make, Davrin, the Crystal King copies. You raise your hand. I'm going to say he for the sake of convenience. He raises his hand. You tilt your head. He tilts his head the same way.
And of course, first was the the first person in the doorway for it to see.
Yes, and now you're
okay.
You're slightly closer. You notice that the facial features do slightly resemble a Jem'Hadar.
So it's not necessarily beckoning us outside. It's just imitating what it's seeing.
Maybe. The Crystal King takes one step forwards. Again, you hear that glass on glass sound of them moving.
I don't know, guys. I mean, I'm a bit terrified by this silent mimic.
He stops one moment and looks at Telek. And
Yeah.
he almost seems to look at you, Davin. He takes a step backwards.
He looks at Tolek, then he looks at me, and then he takes a step back.
Yes.
Oh, he's communicating. He's because you're such a telepathic species. He's reading your mind, Tolek.
He
That
then
is entirely possible.
points. He raises an arm, points at Davrin, and you see his arm move down and points to your waist.
Devon's or mine?
Davrin's.
So Tolek and my Trill, my symbiote.
Ah.
Sorry, because I am the Trill.
Yes. It's basically pointing at where the symbiote would be on your body. I'm assuming that's where it is in the abdominal area. Isn't it?
It's somewhere in the abdomen,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I can't remember the exact location, but it's in that rough sort of general area. It's pretty obvious.
Okay.
I will very hard try. I will try to communicate with my thoughts that we come in peace and represent the United Federation of Planets.
The second you send that, the Crystal King's head snaps around and looks straight at you.
I keep eye contact and send to him. What is your intention?
Walks forward to you. Walks forward again.
Yeah,
Crystal
I
King
kind of.
is now standing probably arm's reach from you.
That is fine. I kind of shoot I kind of do a very slight hand. No, well, that wouldn't work. They have to figure that out themselves. Never mind. I keep contact. Have we done anything wrong on your planet?
Hand comes out slowly. Moves slowly towards your tricorder.
Oh, it doesn't like you scanning.
It picks
yeah.
up the tricorder, assuming you let it,
Yeah, of course.
and brings it forward. In one hand, it holds it, points a finger above it. One of its fingers grows and pierces the tricorder. You hear static. You hear what can best be described as something going.
Good sound effect.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was trying not to burp. Finger then withdraws. We can communicate easier now. And you hear the voice coming from the tricorder.
Oh.
Fascinating.
He hands it back to Telek. I must
Okay.
apologise for frightening you, double being.
It's quite all right. It's just disconcerting when you cannot communicate.
We
And I'm so
understand
glad that we can now.
when the mind speaker spoke to us, points at Tulek. We understood that your species is different to ours. We have tried to communicate with beings like you before, but it has proved unpleasant for them. We do not seek you harm. In fact, we believe you can help us.
How might that be?
You see the Crystal King's features subtly change. He now resembles Davin, for want of a better expression. Looks at Tulek. Again, features change. Now resembles Tulek. He works his way through the entire crew that are on the ship. Katal first. And then you see a species you've never seen before. This one represents and again, there's a static coming from the tricorder.
Do any of the Dominion folk in our party seem to recognise him?
Oh,
His
yes.
current aspect.
Oh yes. You see Katal, the Tyran, who's managed to look out the hole of the window, just go, Bendrazi! I knew it!
Calm down.
And such. The Crystal King stops. Turns back to Tulek. We are not what this creature calls us. We despise what this creature calls us. We hate what this creature calls us. They have been stealing our children!
I see. I think he is just afraid of what you have shown him. He meant no offense with his statement.
The Crystal King takes a step back. If this was a
Can we
human
assist?
being, you would say this thing is pissed.
Is there any way we can assist to retrieve your children?
Tulek, as the creature got angry, you noticed
Yeah.
the psionic energy on this planet spiked.
Figured.
Yeah.
Did I have a sudden stomach ache or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Jean Symbiont was going, what the flip's going on? They are very unhappy right now, and it's not often a symbiont will communicate directly with the host, but pretty much from your symbiont you've got the message, what the fuck?
Whatever's happening, make it not be happening, please.
Yeah, it's unpleasant. They don't like
yeah.
it. It's starting to get unpleasant for them.
Yeah, so my question stands both verbally and telepathically. Is there any way we can assist you retrieve your children?
They are lost to us. Do you know what they have been doing? These creatures, these things.
We have not yet encountered this species. Kital, do you have any relevant information?
She's basically staring in almost horror at this at the moment.
Yeah.
Although the Vorta aren't telepathic, they do have the potential to be telepathic, and she heard mentally that anger. You can see that there's a distinct look on her face that anyone who has been a telepathic species will recognise straight away. This is somebody who has just been contacted by a mental probe. It's a very distinct look into the eyes that they get, and she's got this look.
Tolek, how similar was the physical makeup of these crystals to, say, dilithium crystals or other crystals that might be used in starship travel or weaponry or...
Can I do a quick... Well, my tricorder is gone.
Yeah, your tricorder's being used as a translator device at the moment.
Yes.
And
and then
you did do some scans
can I
earlier.
make a mental comparison?
Oh yeah. Go away again. That'll be a science and insight again.
Insight.
But this will be a DC 2.
Yeah, I'm going to use a momentum here.
Is there a help mechanic in this system of any sorts?
Yeah, not really. Unless
Just
you
because, given it's related to space travel, I have all sorts of focuses to do with that.
Okay, fair
so,
enough. You justified that, so I'm going to say yes. Again, the same difficulty class.
Okay, so we can both
Yeah.
do both big roll.
But basically, if Davrin gets any successes, then actually, Davrin, you roll first.
Sorry, was it science and reason?
Yeah, you roll
Yeah.
first because then if you get a success, that will add to the dice roll for Telek. So
Do you want to use the momentum too, Davron?
Go on then, let's do it.
might as well.
Yeah, okay, so...
Nice. Okay, so you, Tolek, you basically get a extra D20 to roll.
Okay, so I'm at 4 now.
Yep.
Because I'm also using one of those, so...
Just like back and forth.
I just taken one of you back.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So,
Oh wow. Yeah. you might as well fill up the.
Way to go, team.
Full.
Yeah. Yay.
That was well worth spending that momentum
It
on.
was.
Oh, yes.
Okay, you hypothesize that these crystals, from your previous scans, not only would they make very good versions of dilithium crystals,
I knew it.
but there is a component to them that certain energy weapons, if focused through, would amplify them.
I think your hypothesis is correct, Lieutenant John. These crystals could be used for propulsion and weaponry.
But if
As-
so,
as
this is...
you say that, the Crystal King looks at you and is like, yes, but the process... You can almost swear this creature's gathering its thoughts. We have heard our children's screams across the void. We have heard them cry out, begging that we cannot leave this planet. We should not leave here. This is our home. To be taken from here is to be... For you, it would be as if I removed your arm or your leg, but you could still feel it. That is what it's like for us. He stops, turns around and picks up a very small crystal cluster. Do you see this before you?
Yes.
This is one of our youngest. Mentally they are extraordinarily potent, but they are undisciplined. They are children. Puts the crystal down gently, and you see it drop slightly into the earth. These creatures, they must be stopped.
Do you think they know what it is they are doing to your species?
Stops, walks over to you, brings his face close. They know. We begged them to stop, but they took our children. Their ship,
Then
and points in the direction of the Krasbendraji ship. When that ship landed here, they fought to seek more of our children, more of our offspring. And you see it tilt its head and look in another direction. Okay, I would like... Tolek, can you make a medicine and insight check, please?
Gladly.
And
medicine.
yes, you can use your focus on this one.
I like it. Since we have quite a few momentums,
Yes, by all means.
yeah.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
enough. Right. You notice in the distance there are probably about 5 or 6 crystals together, and inside is slightly darker than the others. Looking closely, and with,
see.
shall we say, the superior Vulcan eyesight, now that you notice they're
Damn
there,
space elves.
yeah, it's like, what do your Vulcan eyes see?
Something fascinating.
Oh yes, you see there's a distinct shape of humanoids within these crystals.
Oh.
I see. So you rightfully defended your kind against intruders. I'm saying more for the benefit of the others.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
The Crystal
Thanks
King
for that.
The Crystal King
Yeah.
stops and looks at you. It's like, we welcome visitors here. We should not leave our planet. It is to be away from the join. It is unsettling for us, especially as a child, to be tortured as well. We welcomed these creatures as we welcomed you. And he looks over, back at the humanoid crystals, and you feel that strong psionic pulse go through your brain. This hurts, but you see those 4 crystals crunch and compress. If there was anything
Speaking of-
alive in there before, it's not now.
Speaking of the psionic pain, how
Yes.
long have we been here?
Approximately.
And also, is this likely to accelerate our time frame?
No, it's just more of a boom. It's the constant pressure. Although, with Tulek noticeably wincing, the Crystal King looks at you once more. Yes, you can do something about that. The pain immediately goes away.
Thank you.
And John, you feel the symbiont relax.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, who am I thanking? Does your species have the concept of the individual? Do you have a name or some other means to identify you as an individual?
This is a difficult concept for us. We are much like the liquid one. We are both one and individuals.
I see. So I think, and I'm again looking towards Kitalan first, that you would have an understanding of why it is in your interest as well to protect the life forms on this planet. Slightly pointedly for a Vulcan.
The king nods.
I actually have a thought on that.
Okay.
I have many
Right.
thoughts.
I am going to turn away from the king for the time being and go to Katal.
Right.
Does she look like she's calmed down a bit?
Yes.
No.
She does look like she's calmed down, although staring at the crystals that got crushed were.
So Davrin sort of pointedly, when he's near her, says, "Ambassador," to get her attention and focus her on him.
She's like, yes. What is it, sir?
I have a suggestion, although it is perhaps not really my place, but it would seem to me that this species could benefit very much from membership in the Dominion, and the Dominion itself could benefit from their membership in a non-exploitative way, of course. Then that way they would have defense from further Bendrazi attacks, and the Bendrazi would not be getting this resource for whatever it is they're using it to power.
even though you're a fair distance away, the Crystal King again tilts his head to look at you. Looks at Katal. Let's take a step backwards. And another step backwards. And if you, for those of you who notice, copies Tolek's standard resting pose, arms behind the back. You can see that this creature is trying to make himself, itself, or their self, that's probably the best way to say it, their self, as non-threatening as possible.
Oh, I want to make a good impression.
You have. That's the scary thing. You have.
What do you think, Ambassador?
She puts one finger up to you. Walks outwards. Creature. Stops. What she's doing. Again through the tricorder. Yes. Your crystals. They have done incredible damage to our ships whenever we've approached your planet. It has negated our technology. We have no defense against you. Yet I find myself wanting to agree with this charming young man, and again she flashes you that smile. I find myself agreeing. We would have no defense against you if you decided to fight us. Is this something you would be open to? The Crystal King tilts his head and again repeats the "come hither" gesture to those who are in the ship.
Yeah, I help Bitan outside and hope they think first followed already Guitar with her data core.
Yeah, this thing is, although you see the Crystal King almost not recoil but eye the cluster as if to say, that thing. The king then steps in front of Katal. I believe this will answer your question. And you see him dissolve and drop into the floor. I want all of you to make an insight and science check again.
Yeah, I'm so good at it.
Oh yeah.
Good, because currently my question is not answered.
Oh no, it will be answered. You just
Yeah.
one way or another, it will be answered.
Yeah, this is definitely nothing I've got focus for.
Whee!
Wow.
Oh no.
Natural 20.
That would be the equivalent of a natural 1 for
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons game. Okay, no successes.
Oh well, at least I didn't get a crit fail.
Yep, you didn't get a crit fail, which is good. Come on, Tolek. Come on.
I already rolled.
Oh, you did?
Minus
Oh, sorry.
one.
Again, I'm looking at the wrong bit.
So one of us succeeded at any
Yeah.
rate.
You notice the crystals on the Dominion ship are starting to disappear. I don't want to say dissolve, but
Yeah.
they're basically moving, dropping through the ship, rolling along, flowing away off the ship. And then you hear something you never thought you would hear: a Dominion power core going online. The the cruiser is lighting up. First looks down at his weapon
Fascinating.
and sees it's active.
And then he starts firing it randomly at crystals.
No. It's like,
But I'm feeling less, a bit more uncomfortable.
oh, yes. It's like, even Baton's like, what's going? I tried for weeks to get the powers caught. Are they doing this deliberately?
I think we can consider this as agreement to our suggestion.
That would seem fairly conclusive.
Yeah. You see the Crystal King reform. Pick up the tricorder when it was broken. It's not broken, not broken, dropped, sorry. And then hands it back to Tolek. Does that answer your question?
It does.
Have you done the same to the Vendrazi ship? And could that be undone?
You see the Crystal King smile. This is a distinct smile. Again, indicates you. And you see, something you didn't notice before, there's a second data cluster over by... Well, the ship's not there anymore.
Oh, but...
The Vendrazi ship is gone. But
Okay.
you can see
but
where
there's a data core.
you can see where it was. And you do notice a rather large amount of new crystals appear to have grown there.
I see.
Oh, well, never mind then, that's a shame.
That one is staying here, I believe.
Points to the second data cluster. I see that you've gathered one of these and assumed this would be of use to you as well. We want them gone. We want our children returned. If they cannot be returned, kill them.
I'm afraid that if we are to fight the Vendrazi and the crystals are in their ships, there may be many such casualties. There may not be a way around it.
Puts his hand up. When our children were taken from the planet, they were lost to us. He looks at Tulek. On your homeworld, or the planets you come from, do you have a disease of the mind where the psyche cannot be repaired?
Those diseases do exist, yes.
That is what happens to us if we are too long from the planet. We are driven mad. Turns back to Dagrin. Do not feel guilty if you need to destroy them. It will be a mercy. But if you can return them to their homeworld, you will have our gratitude. So yes, Katal of the Dominion, we accept your offer. Katal is in shock. Then her water, what do you call it, her water composure returns. Well, this is good news. So, and I don't wish to be rude, because this planet is absolutely lovely, but are we free to leave? The king nods. He points back toward your shuttle. You may leave as you wish. But we request you leave that. He points to the ship.
The
Dominion ship.
Yes.
May I ask why? It could be of significant aid in our efforts to retrieve or avenge your children.
Nutrients for the next batch. Or child.
Well, that
That's
does seem
only-
a small price to pay for an alliance.
The king nods.
Could I possibly make a request? I asked the king.
You may.
Would it be possible to transfer information about your planet, your kind, your history to me? Or, well, our systems if possible, or my mind if necessary?
Picks up the tricorder again.
It's really convenient, this power. I like it.
Yeah.
Where do Federation store their data?
Excellent question.
Yeah.
On
Probably
data-
on the ship.
On data crystals.
Right. Yes.
Of
I
course
will.
they do, yes.
Yeah.
Again, the finger comes out. You hear the static burst from the tricorder. We have filled this primitive device of yours as much as it can handle, and hands it back.
I am very
Use it
grateful
well.
for that. Thank you.
For my part, although we may have to leave now, if I ever get the opportunity to return, I would love to hear about your people from yourselves.
Again, we have no objection to this.
Then I look forward to such a time as I may return and speak to you and get to know your people.
Okay.
Right.
nods.
And I will because I have to, being the Vulcan, live long and prosper.
As you do that, he brings up his hand as well.
Yeah, what you said.
Perfectly copies it.
Does it naturally have fingers, or is it sort of like
No, it's
growing
more
them
like
to
a-
make these gestures?
It's basically sort of like
No.
it forms the crystals into
Yeah.
the shape of a hand.
Would you call them spikes?
Yes, I would call them spikes actually. Yeah, very,
Actually, in this case.
Oh, definitely. Okay, I'm going to end the scene there. You make it back to the ship, not a problem. The ensign is basically going out of his mind on nerves because he's seen a ship basically be eaten by a giant crystal, and
Well, but people in the chat, I think he might be entitled to a name now.
I'm okay.
He lived.
He did live. I will.
We aren't back at the ship yet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
He's got to make it back. To the ship.
Maybe we wait till.
He's got to make it back to the ship. And the second is standing there and sees you with 2 data clusters. The journey back to the Damocles is uneventful. Captain takes instructs the ensign to head back to Deep Space Nine. Just before you get to the wormhole, Katal returns to the bridge. Captain, if I may. So, yes. I would like to send a message to. I wish to contact the founders. Everyone on the bridge goes, okay. Bit unusual, but he's like, makes the gesture towards the things like, if you'd like to import the relevant information into the console, ensign, could you? This is a different ensign, don't worry about that. Inputs the data, and there's a brief moment. There's a pause. And then you hear, Captain, we're being hailed. It's the Dominion. View screen flashes into life. On the screen you see the unmistakable form of a founder. It's not Odo, but they look a bit like Odo. You can't tell if it's a male or female, but doesn't really count with changelings. Katal, you see her basically prostrate herself. It's like, founder, Your plan succeeded. We have not only one data cluster, we have two, and we have a new ally in the Gamma Quadrant. The founder smiles. Qatar. You please me. You have done a good job. I think we'll make your position as envoy to the Alpha Quadrant permanent, if that is agreeable with you. She nods profusely. You can practically feel the joy radiating off of her, to be recognised by her god and to be applauded for her job well done. Even First is beaming with pride as much as a Jem'Hadar can.
Even though he didn't get to hit anything.
No.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it happens. Like,
But he now has the holodeck back, so...
oh,
Yes, true.
And then you see the founder looking over the bridge. I presume these are the ones you were telling me about? This is correct. In that case, let me be the first to officially welcome you back to the Gamma Quadrant Starfleet. Again, another scene. This is basically the epilogue now. You know, the just before things. You're back on Deep Space Nine. News of your successful mission has already reached certain Ferengis on board.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Oh no, mate. No, this is good. This is good. You'll like this. On your rest time, and you're in Quarks. The second you walk through the door, there's little celebrations being held. It's like, woo, hey, woo, and you see Quark himself standing there, like basically just going, clapping and applauding. It's like, what's going on? Like, have you heard? What? The Gamma Quadrant's open again. I am going to make so much latinum. Nog has given me exclusive rights to be the only Ferengi allowed to trade with the Gamma Quadrant. I'm going to be able to buy my own moon! And he's like tucking in his own ears, he's basically grinning. It's like, I'm going to regret this, but drinks on the house! And there's a little bit of a party starts going.
Okay, who is this, and what has he done with Quark?
Apparently the changelings never left.
Considering he's the, as you just said, he's the only Ferengi to be allowed to go into the Gamma Quadrant.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah.
He is going to make so
Still
much
though,
Latin.
still though, 3 drinks for the house?
He's going
Come
to
on.
try.
And suddenly realises it goes, for the next 10 minutes.
Right, then I'll have 10 simples, please.
Per
minute.
So, get the good stuff. You see him go, get the good stuff as well. No, that's rubbish. This sort of party goes on, I say celebration, it goes on for a little while. Captain Pura himself joins in the celebrations. Commander Tsang. You know, she's going around congratulating the crew, specifically to Alexis, like, I believe your parents will be proud of you today.
I appreciate the sentiment, Commander.
That's it. Again, they're sort of in that sort of polite Vulcan. Yes, indeed.
Yep.
You see first arm wrestling with a Klingon, and you see him going, like, really putting some work into it. First just beats him, but the Klingon gets a bit of a strop and just goes, bah!
More blood wine!
Exactly. It's like, you know, although he drinks it, it's like, puts blood wine down, Klingon drinks it for him. Basically, people are having a good time, and this is starting to spread throughout the station. As you're going along, where is everybody in the bar?
At the bar, I'm going to strike up a conversation with Morn, I think.
Oh yeah, he is chatting your ear off. You know, it's like you can't.
I regret it already. But
Yeah.
of course, that conversation isn't happening on camera.
Oh no, this is like
We must be clear on this
in
point.
the background. You can see him just going and making gestures and things like that. Okay.
I am somewhere at the edge of the bar, leaning at the wall and just sipping on an Andorian ale.
And Tolek will probably be upstairs on near the railing with a. He'll go all out and have a cup of tea.
Steady on.
Oh, what a
And
flame
Pushing the
explosion!
boat out.
And just observe, behavior.
Okay, so Davrin, you feel something brush against you. You notice it's the captain, and he's had a couple of drinks as well. He's quite not merry, but you can tell he's had a couple of non-synthahol, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he sort of looks at you and goes, "I read your reports, Lieutenant. Hell of a thing. Hell of a thing. Giant crystals, and they talk to you."
It was quite incredible, to be honest, Captain.
I wish I'd been.
I would dearly. Well, I wish to go back, so perhaps maybe that can be arranged on our next visit or a future visit.
I think I will have to. I mean, before he says anything, you see a security officer walk into the bar and look around urgently. Sees Captain Prur and comes up to you. So, Captain, Lieutenant, my apologies for interrupting the celebration, sir, but we have a small problem. And he hands over a data pad. I've got to check my notes. I'm going to make sure I get this right. Okay. Right. On it is a recording. And you recognise Davin straight away that this is a recording of the ambassador's quarters.
Okay.
So, we were doing our standard security protocol as per Starfleet's regulations, and we called this. There's a recording of Katal talking to what appears to be another changeling. And although you cannot see or hear what the changeling is saying, you do get to hear her say this. Yes, they can be trusted with it. Oh. No. They'll be of use. Yes, they can be trusted. I understand. So you agree then? We can start with phase 2. And that's where we're going to end. That's the end of the episode.
Thank you for running.
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Yes. To encounter new life forms and new civilizations.
And thanks to the 5 viewers for sticking with us.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Indeed, yes. It's, I'm very happy with this. Is done very well. So yeah, the Star Trek equivalent of Ilium. Yes. That's I'm now catching up with the chat. Yeah. So this will be where the credits will be playing and everything. The dramatic music, the dun 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 type thing. Yeah, that was the end of the pilot episode. Part 2. So, like I say, if anyone's got any questions, now's the time to ask. Obviously, I won't be revealing what do you call it? Plot points, because there are a few things I will have to keep secrets.
Shucks.
But anything specifically you want to ask that wasn't covered by the episode, or that may want to know.
Yeah, we do have quite a lot of backstory there, don't we?
Yeah,
That they might want to
the
learn about.
characters,
Yeah,
rules
that's
system.
Yeah, because obviously they did say that the first episode I wasn't able to record or transmit. I'm glad it was a lot of fun. Thank you. As I said earlier,
That's really gratifying, isn't it?
I was so freaking nervous beforehand. I am not kidding. I was close to having a panic attack beforehand. I was. The only way I can describe it is when you get into an anxiety loop.
I get you. It's not quite the same, but I did my first play test for my new system earlier, and obviously that's not live in front of an internet audience. But I did get quite nervous. It was the first outing out in the field. So yeah.
That's basically what it was, because whereas before it was like the first game, like this is the first time I'm running a new system. Then it's like the first time we did it properly. Okay, this is the first start of a campaign. Then I realised, right, this is going to be broadcast. I can't.
Yeah.
It's much easier for player.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even really think about it much.
Yeah. I mean,
you just react.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to be a Vulcan, so you know.
I was super conscious of the camera lag, though.
This is a good question. It's just come up in chat. Who was the primary ship designer on the Damocles, and how did that ship design affect the possibilities of other automatic flight modes throughout the fleets? Okay, in the I'm going to call episode 0. We had what's called the Kobayashi Maru incident. And there we discovered that one of the designers of the Prometheus class was a Vulcan admiral. She also designed the holodeck simulation that the cadets were testing, that eventually went on to become the Damocles. And how does it affect other automatic flight modes? That's an interesting question, because technically the Damocles is a test bed for lots of automation. They realised after the Dominion War that having a lot of people on the ship is both good and bad. They don't want to have too many casualties again. So they don't want to go fully automated, but they are on certain ships, especially ones like the Prometheus, the Damocles, and some of the other ones. They are trying to go towards more, I don't want to say automation, because that's probably the one, so more assisting sort of thing. And because you have the multi-vector mode, that's pretty much a given. You know, the ship can literally split into 3 parts, so it needs to have some form of automation. It won't be on things, you know, like the Enterprise or the Defiant that are in combat a lot and things like that. But for ships where combat's probably not going to be a high priority, they are definitely looking at the Damocles with interest to see how the automation of a lot of the systems work. If this works well, it's something that will be spread to certain ships in the fleet. But they're not stupid. They're not going to give it to every single ship in the fleet, just ones that aren't going to be aimed at combat, if that makes sense.
Also, I think a lot of the automation is done with the holograms, emitters,
when the
spreads throughout all the systems and decks.
That's the thing. It's if the system is compromised in any way, and as you well know by watching Star Trek, holodeck technology is extremely unreliable. So they want to basically see how much they can push it before it becomes, no, this is it, we can't go any further. This is never going to get any better. Now, they're not going to go the full route and have, like positronic brains or things like that. It's more a case of, I mean, if you, again, look at the original Prometheus, you could technically fly that with 4 people. That shit was so automated. You could, in theory, tell and say, yeah, attack this one, things like that. But, anything more than basic instructions, the ship wouldn't be able to handle it. It's basically my way of explaining why there's so few crew members on board, and why these guys keep getting picked for the missions, because they're basically some of the best that are available and not tied to ship systems. There's probably, like I say, a maximum of 70 people on the ship.
Technically, we're not the important ones.
No.
Yeah, we are not tied to the command structure.
No, you're not the captain. You're not tied to essential systems. You are of the perfect level to basically be used. But
we're expendable.
No, not necessarily expendable. You have the
Excuse me, I think we just proved that we're completely unexpendable.
Yeah, you've definitely impressed not only the Dominion, but your captain and Starfleet in general.
We better be getting commendations in our files. That's all I'm saying.
You have definitely got a your reputation with Starfleet has increased. That I'm not going to say exactly how, because I want to keep that hidden.
Yeah, I mean that should be in character.
Yeah,
the reveal,
but
whatever that is.
you can definitely tell that when you talk to certain admirals and things like that, it's when they like do your debriefings, they are definitely impressed with your work on this mission. Now they weren't expecting to get 2 data clusters from this. No, they were just expecting to. We'll go with the Dominion. We'll try and help them. We'll placate them so we have access to the gamma quadrants. This was like an open secret, so it's like it's not something that was hidden. It was pretty much a given. Now you guys were sent out. It's one of the reasons why the Damocles was sent out. They wanted to show off to the Dominion. We've got all this new technology now. No. What are you going to do about it? So you came to us for help.
They're going to do phase 2. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah. That's the question is though, what is phase 2?
I mean, there was nothing actually incriminating about her side of the conversation, but it was wonderfully vague.
That was the point.
Yeah.
That was the point. That was the ending I had to change earlier. Then I said I rewrote it beforehand. I don't know if I mentioned it. I think it was just before you came back. You came online, Ross. Actually, may have been.
Right.
And yeah.
Wow, you did quick work there then.
It was more a case of, again, with that, because I've have to do it without. This is for people at home. Because obviously you still can't see me. I had to quickly write some notes on my. In about 5 minutes, I think, oh no, this will go better. So it's like, it's not completely changed from what I originally put down, but it's different enough. It's different enough that it could have gone another way. Okay, so say any more questions from people in chat? Because I am absolutely shattered, mentally speaking, and I've got a busy day tomorrow again as well. So,
ouch.
Yeah, it's my one of my niece's 10th birthday, and I'm going to be shot at with a laser.
Oh, I think you mentioned
Laser
that.
Quest.
Yep,
Love it.
And it's going to be me terrorising loads of 10-year-olds, or more than likely them terrorising me.
Yeah, I think you might be being a bit optimistic.
I'm pretty sure they are quick.
Yeah.
Quick and small targets.
And
yeah.
It's semi-darkness as well, so I know my shins are going to be shredded by the end of it. So that's going to be fun. So yes, again, I was going to close down Roll20 for the moment. Yeah, good luck with the combat rolls here. If next time you see me, I'm bruised, you will definitely. I'll leave that there for a moment. You definitely know why. One thing I am thinking of though, because we've got room for a 4th player, I want to at some point, probably in the next 2 to 3 episodes, get a 4th player in, if possible.
You were originally thinking of cameos. Are you still thinking of that? Or?
Definitely, yeah. I would say we need an engineer character, if possible.
Yeah.
Because
that is kind of what we're missing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got 2 scientists and a security officer.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I would also say
a pilot.
And a pilot.
Or both.
Oh, I think. I mean, pilots can be done for with supporting characters. That's not.
That's true. Actually, it's not a major thing in Star Trek normally, is it?
It's like ensign number 37 sort of thing. So it's like that's what ensigns are for. They're the disposable ones. So yeah, I would like to at some point try and get someone in, because originally the guy who was going to play it, he had to drop out because he was getting too many real life commitments on the day, unfortunately. So these things happen. So yeah, we'll probably put a call out in the next couple of weeks for someone who wants to be an engineer and join in.
Join Starfleet.
Join Starfleet.
Starfleet needs you.
Or at the very least, try and maybe sort of get a guest player on for 1 week. The other thing I will say to anyone who's watching as well is these missions are going to be very narrative heavy. There will be occasionally combat, but it's I probably will check on the subreddit. It's I want to try and ask first of all, people in chat, I will give first refusal to, or any of my followers, then people on Twitter, then people on Reddit. Just to sort of give it. Also, I want to establish things a little bit first, get myself more comfortable with the game and streaming it at the same time, and make sure there's no more technical issues like there was earlier, which was fun. But that's I keep sliding to the right. But yeah, I want to sort of try and do that. Get everything settled first, and then expand, bring in guest players. I mean, not next episode, but probably the episode after. Have actually got someone write the episode for me, or at least write the outline. Chap who goes by name RPG Crunch. So I'm basically, they wrote it for free. I'm going to give them a plug. Basically, that's which is fair. Now I got some notes.
Well, that's a pretty good deal for you, really, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's very good of them.
Yeah, and they get some. Yeah, that's probably the downside. Is the in chat Squid has said is they're 8 hours different because they're over in the States. So it will be, if you're willing to stay up late, then by all means, I'll take anyone, any gender, non-binary, whatever. I don't care. As long as you like Star Trek and are willing to put up with me waffling on, anyone's welcome to join. So, I'll give them a try. So somebody suggested one of my other followers. I might have to see if they're interested. Right, I am definitely starting to crash now. So I am going to say goodnight to everybody. But before we do, I'm going to see if the credits I can get them to run.
Ooh, exciting times.
Yes, it may not work.
Good night, everyone. Good night, viewers.
Yes.
Good night. Thank you for watching.
It may not work because I didn't have Streamlabs open. But if it doesn't work, I apologise because, we'll soon find out. But I had to close that. Is it working? Is it working? Yes, it's working! Now, because Streamlabs can be a bit temperamental. Woohoo! Yeah, I was worried about it. I was worried that if I closed Streamlabs, it wouldn't run the credits. But I mean, because basically I had to close it because it was wobbling. But anyway, I'm waffling. Good night, everyone. Live long and prosper. And safe travels.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Good night.